Okay.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Welcome to the Real Estate Game Changer Show. I'm your host, Mike McKay, based in Jacksonville, Florida. And each and every week, we do this show with people who are changing the game of real estate all over the country. And this is a live show, guys. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comments for our guests to answer. If anyone is in the Jacksonville area and has been thinking about getting into real estate, we are hiring sales reps for our team. Sales experience is great, but if you don't have it and you're hungry, we're still interested in talking to you. So if that sounds like you, send me a DM on Instagram and let's talk. And this week on the show, we have Brian Davila. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me on, brother. I appreciate you letting me be on your show.
For sure, man. So for the people who don't know you, could you tell us how you got into the real estate business and how that's led you to where you are today?
Yeah, so I actually started in real estate when I was about 25 years old. So I felt like I started a little bit late, but I had a 9 to 5 job. I met someone at a business that I owned. I owned a barber shop back in the day,
Hmm.
right? Crazy, right? Barbershop, no hair. Interesting.
Did you have hair back then?
I did.
Okay.
Very short hair, but I had hair. But, I owned a barbershop, and the barbershop was actually failing, so the business was literally
Mm,
just going down, and, I was sitting in there one day, and some guy walked in, told me about him, being a realtor. He said, "Realtors make, like, 50 to 60K a year." So I was like, "Dude, that's more than I'm making. That's a really good job." So that's what initially got me interested in
mm,
real estate. So became a realtor, did very well as a realtor, is making up to like $500,000 a year as a real estate agent. And then transitioned to flipping and wholesaling houses because I saw there was like more upside to that.
mm,
So then since then been flipping, wholesaling, bought rentals, owned some Airbnb, bought some like small fourplexes.
mm.
Yeah. And since then I've done about like 400 real estate transactions myself. Um, and yeah, I host a podcast too, teaching people about how to flip and wholesale real estate.
Cool. And then when you made that transition from being an agent to kind of flipping and wholesaling, which one did you start with?
So I started off flipping. So I wanted to
Interesting.
flip houses. Um, I thought, that flippers make more money. So I was just like, I just went all in on flipping houses.
Yeah. And were you like, where were you getting your inventory at the time?
So I used to get all of my inventory as a realtor from cold calling. So what I used to do is just like instead of pitching them on letting me list their house, I was just pitching them on letting me buy their house.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hmm.
And, I'm sure there have been some challenges along the way from 0 to 400 deals. What were some big inflection points and challenges you faced early on, maybe in the first 2 years you were doing it?
Um, so I guess it took me like a year of like thinking about flipping my first house to actually doing it.
Hmm.
So that was like a big inflection point. Getting from 0 to 1 took me like a whole year. Um, and then after I started flipping, there was like another inflection point where I would like run out of money. So I was only able to flip as many
Mm,
houses as I could personally afford. So
mm,
once I started like raising capital and partnering with people, that's when my business like really blew up. COVID was another inflection point because, prices went up. So we were just crushing it, flipping houses in Southern California when everything was going like this, when interest rates rose and, uh, prices dropped. That was like an inflection point down. So yeah, there's been a few, there's been a few ups and downs through the last few years.
How long did it take you when you were using your own money to flip to decide, okay, like it's time to bring in some outside capital?
I actually flipped with my own capital for probably maybe like the first 2 years.
Okay.
Because I'm very risk adverse. I'm very like not a risky person. So I didn't feel comfortable using other people's money to like flip houses or even to partner with someone, like putting my name on anything with someone else. I was like very like risk adverse, so I didn't want to do that. So
Mm.
it took me like 2 years before I started like partnering and raising some money.
What allowed you to kind of overcome that obstacle in your mind?
So literally I just ran out of money. There was like no other option. So I
Okay.
was like, all right, like if you're flipping houses and you have, let's say 100K, and if the 100K is in the, in a house, then I couldn't just like not do anything. So I kind of like got to the point where I was like, like I have to like, I got to do something. And I didn't really want to wholesale. I was never like a big wholesaler until recently.
Mm,
Um, so I was just like, okay, I'm gonna have to like buy some deals with other people's money.
yeah. And did you go out and get hard money, or did you get money from people that you knew?
Oh no, I've always used hard money. So I've always used hard money, and then I started raising money for the down payment and rehab with other people's money. What do you
Oh, so
do? Do you
you
flip houses or what's your deal?
we flip and we wholesale too, or sometimes we just
Oh,
buy stuff and put it on the MLS. That's one of my favorite.
oh, okay, got it. And only in Jacksonville?
Greater Jacksonville, and our big thing is actually that we flip a lot of mobile homes on land. That's our big target.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. That's pretty cool.
Um, so you said something before. You said I was never a big wholesaler until recently.
Yeah.
What made you make that change?
Well, dude, I don't know about you, but over here on the West Coast, the best coast, it is slow as crap. The market is extremely stagnant, like extreme, like it's actually bad right now. So earlier this year, I was like, dude, like some of our wholesale deals are making just as much as our flips when I started looking at the numbers. And
Brian,
then,
I think you tapped something on your mic because it's echoing.
nah, yeah, yours is echoing too now. I don't know
Oh,
why.
now you're good. All right,
Okay.
you're good. Yeah.
But what I was saying was like earlier this year, I could feel the market was a little bit slower.
Hmm.
And I was looking at the books, and our wholesales were making just as much as our flips. So
Hmm.
I was like, you know what? Like, even though I've never liked wholesaling, I think right now might be a good time to just focus more on wholesaling than flipping. So this is
Hmm.
like the first year that we've wholesaled on, we focus more on wholesaling.
Gotcha. What changes did you have to make to obviously switch to like a more wholesaling model versus flipping?
Well, first is like mindset because I'm literally used to always buying the house. So
Hmm.
sometimes, like when you're wholesaling, you're like, I could make 20K wholesaling, but I'm giving up 40K. So like getting over that for sure.
Hmm.
And then that's pretty much it. I mean, I already knew how to wholesale. Like I have wholesaled for the last few years, but not like making it like the primary thing
Hmm.
versus flipping. It's always been like flip first, then wholesale. Now kind of like almost flipping it where it's like more wholesaling and equal to flipping type of thing.
Yeah. How are you making the decision when you get a property if you're going to flip it or wholesale it?
So for me, I don't want to do any heavy rehab. So if it's a heavy rehab, I'm for sure gonna wholesale it. If it's like on a busy street, if it's like
Mm,
just like a weird property that I'm not sure if it's gonna sell as much as the other comps. Also depends on the area. So if we're flipping in LA, I want to make at least $60,000 for sure. If it's like San
mm,
Bernardino County, at least $40,000. I like quick flips, not trying to deal with tenants, not trying to build ADUs or add square footage. So it just has to be like cookie cutter, easy, quick flip,
mm.
or I'm gonna wholesale it.
Gotcha. What do you consider a heavy rehab?
Anything where I'm spending more than like 50 grand is like a heavy rehab.
Okay. Yeah. So nothing, that's not even that crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, nothing where we're like doing the roof and doing the AC and doing the new electrical, like none of that. It has to be like cosmetic or like buy it and list it type of thing.
Okay. And is your primary acquisitions channel direct to seller still or? What do you
So direct to seller, we're doing some direct to agent, and then we're doing some Facebook ads.
mm,
So it's like a blend. And then I get people that hit me up on social media. So it's like relationships. So it's like a blend of all three.
gotcha. And then, over the years, I mean, I know you said there were some different inflection points. Obviously, before this was kind of interest rates rising,
Mhm.
and that obviously having an effect. I'm not sure. I'm sure it affected you guys, but it
For
obviously
sure.
affected us. What happened in your market during that, and how did you handle it?
When the interest rates went up,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, houses sit, they don't sell for as much. You get beaten up on price, you get beaten up on repairs, you get beaten up on closing costs. You're just a friggin' you just get smacked around um for the last 2 years. Even right now. I don't, is the market slow where you're at right now or no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the market is hella slow. Like it is slow, slow here in Vegas and Southern California.
Mm,
So right now, like you're not getting a full price offer on nothing, like, for sure.
mm,
Like, you're gonna get a full price and they want, like, $20,000 in closing costs, and the realtor's, like, asking for 4%. It's just buck wild over here.
yeah.
So yeah, just getting used to that type of market versus, like, a more stable market versus,
Mm,
like, a seller's market is definitely, like, a learning curve.
yeah. What changes have you made based on that?
Well, now, like, really, I'm like even more skeptical on like flips. So like it has to be like we just flipped a house right now. I think we made like 52K this week. Um that was literally like we bought it, I listed it like and resold it way lower than what the ARV was. But I knew if I
Mm,
listed it at that price, I would get an offer literally same day and then resell it. So just doing stuff like that, like way faster turnarounds
mm,
versus like, let me like fix it completely up and get it staged and try to get the, record in this neighborhood. Like that's just not even the play
mm,
right now.
yeah. So are you preferring to be, I'm assuming it was in decent shape, this deal that you're talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah. It has to be in decent shape, like
Yeah.
livable, like literally buy it and relist it.
Yeah. So are you noticing that in your market that like it's better just to be the cheapest, even if you're not necessarily the nicest?
Yeah. So everything that I try to list, I'm trying to be the cheapest for sure.
Cheapest. Interesting. Okay. Gotcha. What other changes have you had to make like within your company as the kind of market has shifted over the last 2 years?
Mm, besides that, I mean, um, I think before like just average people could get results. So now like everyone on the sales team has to be like a great salesperson or it's just not going to work.
Mm,
Deals have to make sense. My negotiation, I used to be very like whatever on negotiating. Like if they're like, "Oh, extra 5K," I'd be like, "Oh, sure, whatever." Like, it might work. Now it's like, "Hey, like if the numbers don't work, I'm not buying it and I don't care and it sucks." Oh well. And if
yeah.
people try to walk away and then come back, it's like I'm for sure getting an even bigger discount. So it's just I guess being more hard on negotiations, making
Mm,
sure salespeople are better, making sure that I'm not looking at the highest comp. Whatever I list, I'm going to list it below everything else.
mm.
Um, so yeah, I'll say those are big ones.
What have you done to make sure that you're getting better salespeople?
Fire people that don't perform.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So before it was like, all right, it's been a month. But he's nice and he's trying to figure it out. Now it's like the first day I'm like, is this person gonna work or not? Like,
Mm,
I'm not trying to waste time. I'm not trying to like babysit anyone. Like, I want someone that's like hungry, they have sales skills, they're willing to grind. I don't want people that are just like, they think just because they're good at sales, they're gonna be successful. They have to like put in the work.
mm. Have you changed anything about your hiring process to make sure you attract those type of people?
Just being very like upfront with people of like, hey, look, like if things don't work in the first 2 weeks, we're gonna let you go. Um, like,
Mm,
hey, look, like our good salespeople, they get a contract a week. Like, do you understand that? It's a contract a week. Got it.
mm,
Okay, cool. So like in a week, we're on Friday, I'm gonna be like, dude, you didn't get any contracts. And then if too many of those weeks happen back to back, then we're not gonna be able to work together because you're not gonna make money and then we're not gonna make money. So
mm,
it's a waste of both of our time.
yeah. How many salespeople do you have on your team right now?
3.
3. Okay. And they're all hitting the one contract a week metric most weeks, at least.
2 of them are, one of them is new, so
Mm.
he's we'll see.
What are you noticing? I mean, are you noticing any commonalities between the people who come and they're successful and the people who maybe 2 weeks in, you're like, hey, this isn't gonna work.
No, but I think I have seen a communality, I can't even say the word, but, like, the producers produce.
Mm,
There's, like they come in and they produce. I've yet to have someone that sucked and turn them into a rock star, but I've had rock stars come in and they're just rock stars. Like, literally, they get a contract in the first day or 2, and I'm like, "Oh." Like, the last guy we had, he was here for, like dude, like 6 weeks and he got 1 deal, but he was, like, nice and he was smart and he was, like, good at sales, like, communicating with us.
mm,
But then I was like, "You know what? Let's get someone else in." We got someone else in. He got, like, 6 contracts in 2 weeks, and I'm like, I knew it was just like
mm.
it's just like the A players, they make it. The C players, they are who they are. I don't think you could make a C player an A player, in my opinion, the way we run it. So, yeah.
Yeah. What is the way you run it in terms of like training and coaching?
Yeah, so we hire, right? And then typically during the job interview process, there has to be like clear sales experience, like very
Mm,
clear. They had to work at a car dealership. They had some sort of real sales experience where they went through sales training. They understand commission lifestyle. So that starts
mhm,
there first, right? And
mhm,
then once we understand they have sales training, are they good culture fit, right? Like I don't want people who are just cursing up a storm or whatever the case may be. I also explain our culture like, hey, this is like a Christian office. If you're
mm,
uncomfortable with people praying and all this stuff at the office, like it's gonna be awkward. So I just want to let you know that up front.
mm,
Um, they don't have to be Christian at all. But I just let them know, hey, like there's Bible studies here, there's this, there's that. So that's there. And then I explained to them, like, you're going to be on the phones calling leads and trying to get contracts every day. We're here usually 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. If they're okay with all that, and I think they're a good culture fit, then we ask them like, hey, like, can you come in for a couple of hours and like watch us do the work and do some sample calls to make sure that this is what you want to
mhm.
do? Because we've done that before too, where people come in and then they're like, I actually don't like this. And I'm like, all right, great. Like, I'm glad we didn't
Yeah.
waste any more time. So we do that. And then when they start, then just like clear expectations, like, hey, like we want like at least we try to aim for 50 conversations a day. And like the
Mm,
main KPI is 1 contract a week. Like, I don't care if you do 10 conversations a day, but you're getting a contract. Like, just do whatever it takes to get those contracts. If it takes
mhm,
you 200 dials or 50 dials, I don't care. Like, just focus on the contract, not the output.
mhm,
Um, but then, yeah, just we train, we give them scripts, we listen to their calls because the whole sales team is in the same room with like the sales leader. So
mhm,
he's like the one really like managing them day to day.
mm. So you do have like a sales manager on top of the 3 reps?
Yeah, one of the three is a sales leader.
Gotcha. And what does that look like?
So he meets with them, he looks at their KPIs, he makes sure he's in the room with them, so he hears their calls. He'll like
Mm,
jump in and help close their calls.
mhm,
Um, And like his responsibility too is for them to produce. So it's kind of like a team
Mm.
effort.
And he's also selling too on his own,
Yep.
or gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't believe in like sales managers that don't sell. I feel like
Mm,
that's like the stupidest thing. It's like we've had that before on like the education company
hmm.
where like the sales manager, they're just managing. Like we don't believe in like sales managers that just manage. That's like ridiculous. We need
Yeah,
like sales managers have to close.
gotcha. And then what? I lost my question there for a second. Just popped right out of my head.
There you go. How big is your sales team?
I've only got one guy right now. We're looking for three more. So
Okay.
yeah, that's why I'm asking you all these questions so I
Oh
can
yeah, there you
hire
go.
more amazing salespeople. Yeah.
We also give them like the predictive index. So that's like
Hmm.
the personality thing. So we make sure that they have like a sales profile also.
What's your favorite profile for salespeople on Predictive Index?
Probably like a captain, like a maverick captain persuader.
Hmm.
Those are like I don't know if there's any other sales ones, but those are like the three main ones.
And then I was like, how are you going about finding those people who are A players, like to even get them into your hiring pipeline?
We get a lot of people from like my social media. So like we get a
Wow.
lot of people from social media. I get people like I hired some guy. Today's his first day. That's like the third guy.
Hmm.
Um, he literally just walked in and was like, "Hey, I want to work for you." Blah 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 blah. Brought him on because he had that like some hustle. So I would say social media is like number one for sure, and then like referrals. So like
Mm,
I'll post and somebody will show their husband or send it to somebody else, and then they're referred to me.
gotcha. And are your guys, are they running all phone appointments or are they going out to
Yeah,
these
everything's over
houses?
the phone. Yeah,
Everything's over the
everything's over
phone.
the phone. Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So we do California. We live in Vegas, so
Okay. Gotcha.
it's all virtual.
And you're flipping in California, even though you guys are all in Vegas. Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Everything I do is in California.
Huh. How do you how does your construction operation work? Like, do you have a on the ground person in
Project manager.
California?
Yeah,
Project manager?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I used to live in California, so I just moved to Vegas like a year ago.
Okay.
So, yeah, my business was already, like, running and everything in California before I left.
Gotcha. What made you decide to leave?
Taxes, and then when I became partners with Ryan, Pineda, that was, like, one of our agreements that when I would move to Vegas.
Gotcha. Were you doing the whole business like or not the whole business, but the sales on the phone when you were in California, or was that did you make that change because you moved to Vegas?
No, I've always tried to do everything over the phone because then I would, like, waste a lot of time, like, driving to houses or, like,
Mm,
whatever. So, like, if I was to ever go on an appointment, it would have to be, like, a, like, super legit appointment where, like,
mm,
we have to go there and it makes sense. I'm not just, like, going on sales appointments all over Southern California. It's too big of an area to do that effectively, I feel like.
yeah, gotcha. I'm curious because we actually just hired a project manager about 10 days ago.
Mhm.
Like, at what point in your business did you decide that it was the right move to hire a project manager?
I've always had a project manager since, like, I started. So
Wow,
I've never, like, put together all these people. I've always had a project manager.
gotcha. And are they putting together all the subs on a project, or are you just having them
Yeah,
manage a bunch of general? Okay, gotcha.
yeah. Mhm.
Cool. And like, how do you have everything structured with your project manager with you being obviously in a totally different area?
Like, structured, um so I do some flips here in Vegas and then but 90% of everything is in Cali.
Hmm.
For both of them, they get paid one of them gets paid, like, $750 per project.
Hmm.
So he gets the subs, he does all the stuff, make sure it's all gets done, and then he gets paid, and then everyone else gets paid.
Hmm.
Um, Another one, he just bills me in the lump sum of whatever the estimate comes out to. So if it's like 60K, he'll bill me like 62K or something like that.
Mm,
Um, and then he just manages the whole project.
gotcha. It sounds like you've been pretty kind of hands off in that side of the business almost since you started.
Exactly. Yeah, I've never like went out and like found people to do flooring and then found people to do painting or all that crap. I've always found whoever has all those people and just worked with them.
Yeah. What KPIs do you have for your project manager?
Um, I mean, do they get the project done in
Okay.
30 days? That's it.
In
Like
30 days. Yeah.
yeah, it's more like speed. There's
Mhm.
no other what like give me an example of like a KPI, I guess.
Well, I guess, if there was like an estimated reno budget, there could be potentially a KPI, which is did they stay within it or did they blow it
Yeah,
or
no. No, they never blow it.
yeah.
I never if they blow it, because there's also like some investors have it wrong where they're like, "Oh man, this project manager blew the thing." But it's like, "Okay, look at the original bid. Was there an AC on there? No. Did the AC go out? Yeah. So he didn't blow it. The it
Yeah.
changed, but if they ever bid me 50K or whatever, it will never go over a significant
Mhm.
amount unless something changed. But just for the work that was promised, the price cannot change. I wouldn't even pay him. I'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, like you gave me a bid for 50K. Why would I pay you 55K or whatever?" Unless
Yeah.
something changed.
Sure. Okay. So you're mainly just holding them to that time expectation because you're doing the light rehabs of thirty days or less.
Yeah, so main thing is like I just want it done in 30 days
And
or less.
are you guys like pretty much always hitting that or
Yeah, there was a time where I think we had like too many projects.
Mhm.
Um and then it got a little shaky and then I wasn't like paying close attention to it and it started to break, but now I was like, okay, we can't go over anymore. It has to be 30 days or less or, I'm not going to work with them.
Yeah. Is there anything you do to just like keep an eye on those projects or to hold them accountable if you've got a lot of stuff going on?
Not really. No, like if think they're falling behind, I'll go there and make sure they know like, hey, like what's going on here? Like I'm at the house and it doesn't look like we're gonna finish by XYZ. But
Mhm.
I used to go to the projects every week and all that crap, but like it's such for me, it's a waste of time. So I kind of like rely on them to do their job. And if they can't do their job, I'll just find someone else.
Yeah. Are they like obviously you're putting the houses under contract virtually. Are they the person who goes out there initially to do the walkthrough or do you send someone
No.
else? No. Okay.
No, I literally like typically I could tell what a house is gonna cost um by just like pictures or like a video or like an estimate. Like,
Mhm.
all right, this house is 1,100 square feet, it's 3-1. If I do like 40 to $45 a square foot, it's probably gonna end up around there. And
Mhm.
then like, does it need a roof? Does it need AC? And then I'll just add that.
Gotcha. Simple. I like it.
Yeah, it's very simple.
Yeah. What's your current role in your business?
I would guess like CEO or owner.
So what's your day to day? I mean, so what's your day to day look like? I mean, you've got the project management handled, right? Seems like the sales team
Yeah.
kind of runs on its own with the sales
Somewhat.
leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my job is like when they do have a deal that they're close on or they're about to get,
Mhm.
I will like final underwrite it to make sure it's actually a deal.
Mhm.
Because we try not to get contracts that we have to back out of.
Mhm.
Um, so like right before we're about to sign it, I'll like review it.
Mhm.
Sometimes they'll sign it and then I'll review it, and then before putting in a deposit, I'll say, "Hey, like this is even a deal or not."
Mhm.
So I'll do that. I wire money, obviously, because I have the bank account, so I have to wire money to the project managers, the escrows, the hard money lenders, whatever.
Mhm.
Um, hire, so I'm in charge of like hiring and recruiting. Um, hire, recruiting, and just thinking like, what do we need to do? Like, are we getting enough leads? Are we not
Mhm.
getting enough leads? Do we need to like, are we spending money on this marketing and it's not working? So more like thinking of like ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I honestly don't work a lot. Like I probably really work like really work like a couple hours a day.
Yeah. What do you think is the most effective thing that you spend your time on?
Most effective thing?
Mhm.
What do you mean by that? What does that mean?
The highest return for the least amount of time invested.
My highest return is like when I'm underwriting those deals to make sure they're a deal, and then like if it's too low, then I'll be like, let me talk to the agent or the seller, and then getting them down or renegotiating or telling them to renegotiate. I would say that would be like the most. And then like paying attention to like what the sales team is doing.
Mhm.
Because obviously, like if they're producing, then everything's working. If they're not, then yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. What other recent roles have you hired for in your business?
Um, Recent roles. So I could tell you all the roles. So we have a listing agent. We
In-house.
have a
In-house agent.
uh she's here. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, she's like in the building. She's not uh yeah, I don't know. She's here. So we have a listing agent, we have a
Mhm.
PC, we have a project manager. Well, we have two project managers. We have the sales leader, and then we have two salespeople, and that's
Mhm.
pretty much it.
Okay. So who does the dispositions on the wholesale stuff for you guys?
Yeah, I guess I forgot that. Yeah, so I do the dispo. So
Okay.
that's like the role that I still do.
Gotcha. Anything unique you're doing with a dispo in this market?
No, so I have investor lift, so I post on investor lift,
Mhm.
post on my Instagram. If it's like in because we have a coaching program, so
Mhm.
if it's in a market like San Bernardino, I don't know if you know where San Bernardino is, but like I know people there, so I already just call the buyers that I know, and then I'll try to
Mhm.
just sell it. If I can't sell it, then I'll go to investor lift and then try to dispo it there.
Gotcha. Okay. And have you noticed any kind of challenges in the disposition side? Just because obviously, I'm assuming a lot of people are selling to flipping, right? So those challenges can
Yeah.
sometimes filter down.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, like you can't right now people aren't buying stupid deals, so that's why like I make sure that's why like I guess like we said the most effective thing is
Mhm.
that final underwriting because
Mm.
if it's too high, when I go to dispo, it's not going to sell and it's a waste of time. And then I'm
Mm.
wasting time wiring money and then we're wasting time with the seller or the buyer. So I guess that would be like the main thing is like is this actually do I think this is actually going to sell?
Mhm.
Like that's like the main thing that
Mhm.
I have to like make sure.
Gotcha. Okay. And then, what other changes have you made in your business in the last like 2 years or so?
2 years a lot. Um yeah, 2 years a lot. So but I would say like biggest change is just having the mindset of like the business cannot rely on my efforts.
Mm.
Before it was like it was the Brian DeVilla show. I'm freaking hustling. I'm on acquisitions. I'm on dispositions. I'm like doing
Mhm.
everything. Where now it's like, okay, now I have a listing agent that does all the listing crap. I have a
Mhm.
TC. I usually have like a personal admin.
Mhm.
That's not just on the real estate side, but on the personal side. And then having that sales leader is huge.
Mhm.
That's like the biggest piece for sure. And then like the company cannot rely on my efforts on sales, like for sure. That's like a
Mhm.
non-negotiable now, where before it was like I gotta pack up and get my ass to work and do sales or else there's no revenue coming in.
Yeah. When did you make that shift of saying, "Okay, I'm not gonna be the main producer here"?
I would say January of this year. I was just like, I'm not
Okay.
doing this anymore where I'm like the main guy.
Yeah. And at that point, you started like, did you have some salespeople before then, or are you?
Yeah, I had some salespeople, but then I really put it on like one of them to be the sales leader.
Mm,
And then he stepped up and kind of took over managing the team because that's honestly like probably like the hardest part. Um, so yeah.
is being the sales manager or
Yeah.
sales leader?
I,
Okay.
I would say, yeah, I would say for sure. Sales leader of any company is probably like the hardest, most important part.
Yeah. What do you think of the traits that he has that helps him be a good sales leader?
He's very patient. He's very kind. He's very smart. Like he knows his stuff. He's not just winging it. Um, uh, yeah, I would say patient, kind, and he knows his stuff. He knows what's a deal and he knows what's not a deal.
Mm.
Um, so yeah.
And he was working for you for a while before as a rep, you were saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like only like 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Like, I'm actually curious, what's your vision for the next 3 years?
Vision for the next 3 years. So I don't have like a 3-year plan, but I know I'm trying to right now we're trying to get up to where we make 100K a month every month. Like that's the standard. So we're
Hmm.
working towards that. Um that's literally it. I don't have any other like goals or visions or anything else. So get to 100K. Once we get to 100K, how do we get to 200K a month? And then
Hmm.
I feel like that will probably end up being like the sweet spot
Mm.
of like running a flipping and wholesaling company that's kind of automated, where it's
Hmm.
not relying on me. If I can get it to more, that'd be great. But I haven't seen that, so I feel like 200K a month is like pretty good.
Is that when you say 100 or 200K, is that gross revenue, net revenue?
That's revenue. Yeah,
Just revenue. Okay.
yeah, that's revenue. Yeah, that's not
Gotcha.
like, oh, I sold a house and we get a check for 100K. It would be like the profit of that flip, and then
Right.
the profit of the wholesales.
But not the net profit of the entire business after all expenses.
No, no.
No. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. So we want to get to 100 gross. And then how do we get to 100 net? So it's always like
Mm.
think gross net. Um, yeah. Have you heard that
Yep.
before?
Yeah, that sounds like that's straight out of the Gary Keller book.
Exactly. Exactly. I have his book right there. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he says, what is it, gross a million,
Yeah, yeah,
net a
yeah. Think a
million, then something
million.
else. Yeah,
No,
that's it.
think a million, gross a million, then net a million. That's
Yeah,
exactly
it's
it.
been about 7 years since I read it. It's a great book
Yeah.
though.
Yeah. I read it probably maybe 5 years ago or so, something like that.
Yeah, very cool. Cool, man. Well, we're getting kind of close to the end here, and there's always a two questions I like to ask at the end of the show.
Mhm.
First one is it's kind of a fun one, which is what is the craziest or most uncomfortable situation that you have ever experienced in a real estate deal?
Crazy. So there is it's kind of a bad story, but I was on a seller appointment one time and this seller literally called me the N-word while we were on the appointment. And I was just like, all right, I get it. But do you want 200K for your house? Like
Did he
so
take
I
it?
actually
Or she
yeah,
take it?
I ended up
No
getting
way.
him. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Because he was just mad because it's so funny. It was a kind of a weird story. Like it was like a small house, but it had, it had a big lot. And then when we walked into the lot, I was like, damn, there's a lot of stuff there. Like there was like literally like a portable school. And like it was like just full of trash. There was just trash everywhere. And I was like, what are you gonna do with this? And then he was like, what the hell you think I'm gonna do with it? This is like expensive stuff. Da, 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 da. I'm tired of you N words coming here and disrespecting me. And I was like, okay, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Like,
Jeez.
I was like, but we could pay 200K for this and we'll, you know. You could keep it. It's all good. Oh, yeah. I would say that's, like, the craziest thing I could think of.
Yeah, that's up there for sure. Good on you for still getting the deal, right? I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
kinda
Yeah, I'm not a freaking weenie. I'm not, like, I'm not easily offended here. Not like all these people that get pissed off just because someone else is voting for someone else, and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm unfollowing this guy because he's voting
yeah.
for Trump." I'm not like any of those weenies.
Yeah. Like, "You still have a house?" Like
Yeah, yeah. Do you still want this or not? I just drove here. It's like 30 minutes away. I'm not gonna just leave because 'cause you're an idiot.
yeah. I like that. Cool. Well, second question I always ask kind of for the newer people listening to the show, which is if you could go back in time, give yourself one piece of advice when you were looking for that first real estate deal, knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself?
I would say, like, find a calculator. 'Cause I feel like
Mm,
when I first started, I was like, I would look at the houses, not like a
mhm,
regular calculator, like a Google calculator, but like a flip calculator. Put in for right now, like $45 a square foot, just as a rough estimate, and every house, just run the numbers on. Cause at first I would look at houses, I'm like, I mean, this house is 200. I think the houses around there are selling for 300, and I would just kind of guess a lot until I
mm,
was like, oh, like it's just simple math. Like if and the numbers, most 90% of the numbers don't change. It's like the ARV, the rehab, everything else kind of stays the same. You
mhm,
put your minimum net profit. So like if I would have just done that in the beginning, I would have saved a year of just like, I don't understand like what to offer or da da da. So yeah, like get a calculator and then go out and make offers, like make 100 offers, even if the calculator says you need to be at 225 and they're at 335, like just make the offer.
mm,
And then slowly you're like, "Oh, okay, let me offer on ones that are like close to where I need to be at." So, if I
yeah,
would have done that, I would have been successful way faster.
yeah. I think that's a great piece of advice. And I like the fact that you say it's simple, right? Because it really is. I've seen people with these calculators with 50 inputs. I'm like, it's
No,
just,
yeah.
they're just going
It
to be
should be
wrong
like
anyway.
6.
So,
Yeah, there shouldn't be a ton of inputs, and they're free too, so, like, you don't need to go pay some guru for a calculator, like Google. You know what, dude? I've been thinking about this a lot. So I've been using Chat GBT a lot, and like I legit got my nutrition plan and my whole health plan from Chat GBT, and I was like, dude, like I didn't even have to go to a freaking gym trainer. Like I told
huh,
it everything that I wanted. I told it the weight. I told it how much I want to lose, what my body fat percentage is, what I wanted to do, and it gave me that. I'm pretty sure you can go into Chat GBT and ask anything about real estate.
yeah.
And the more you use it, the better you get at using it. So,
Mm,
freaking, if people can't figure it out now, it's because they're idiots. There's no excuse on like why you can't figure out how to do real estate. It's just a lack of effort. It's not a
yeah.
lack of like information.
And it's not that much effort to type one question into ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the effort is gonna come when you have to go out and put in the offers. That's
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
where the hustle and the sales skills are gonna have to come into, but, like, finding the information,
Mhm.
um, I guess sorting the information in the right sequence is important, but, ChatGPT nowadays could, like, answer 99% of the stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Cool, man. Well, if people want to reach out to you after the show, if they have questions or they want to, maybe check out your show, how can they go
Yeah.
about finding you or contacting you?
Yeah, if they go on YouTube, go to Wealthy Investor RE on YouTube or the Brian Davila on real estate. And yeah, hit me up. I'll answer anything that you guys need.
Cool. Awesome, man. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me on, brother. Appreciate it.